When one thinks of Britain and its deep, abiding fascination with ancient Egypt, certain images spring to mind. We see the grand columned halls of the British Museum. We picture dusty adventurers in pith helmets, their faces etched by the desert sun. We imagine the thrill of discovery. We imagine uncovering a tomb sealed for millennia. But between the sands of the Nile Valley and the galleries of London, there stood figures who made this connection possible. The galleries of London, the gatekeepers, the facilitators, the men on the ground, those who turned wonder into pathways between worlds. One of the most important, yet often overlooked of these figures, was a man named Henry Salt. He was not a king or a general, yet his influence on our understanding of ancient Egypt is as monumental as the statues he helped bring to the world. Henry Salt was born in Lichfield, Staffordshire, in 1780. It was a world away from the desert landscapes he would later call home. His father was a physician, a respected man in town. Lichfield's magnificent three-spire cathedral, the town's intellectual climate, birthplace of Dr. Samuel Johnson. Young Henry grew up in a comfortable middle-class home that encouraged the genteel arts. He was the youngest of 8 children. From an early age, he showed a distinct talent for drawing. His sketchbook became everything. His early education was respectable, though not destined for Oxford or Cambridge. He attended school in Lichfield and later in nearby Market Bosworth. His father recognised his gifts and decided to nurture them. He was sent to London to study painting. He studied under Joseph Farrington, then trained at the Royal Academy. During his time as a student in London, Henry Salt developed more than brush or pencil. He cultivated curiosity beyond the studio, observing people and places and learning languages. While his formal education was unremarkable, his self-education was extensive. He read widely: travel, geography, history. This blend of artistry and inquiry made him ideal for Viscount Valentia, who wished to document the world. Before photography, the expedition artist was paramount, a faithful visual recorder. Botanical and zoological studies, architectural wonders and ceremonial dress, and the very shape of the land. His drawings were data, Britain's first glimpses of distant worlds. Salt's calm temperament suited delicate dealings with dignitaries and officials. In Ottoman lands, protocol was perilous, missteps could be disastrous. He learned to listen, to work through interpreters, and to communicate clearly, a diplomat in embryo. In 1802, Henry Salt set sail with Viscount Valentia on a voyage that would define his future. Eastward, around Africa's Cape of Good Hope, to India. In Calcutta, he sketched the life and architecture of a bustling imperial city. In 1805, Valentia sent Salt into the interior of Abyssinia, a Christian kingdom closed to Europeans. His task? Establish contact with the emperor and explore trade for Britain. He faced treacherous terrain and complex politics, yet reached the royal court. He documented customs, language and history, producing portraits and landscapes of enduring value. The mission proved a success, enhancing his reputation. He returned in 1806. His work appeared in Valentia's Voyages and Travels, 1809, lavishly illustrated from Salt's drawings. Its success led to a second official mission as Crown Envoy. In 1811, travelling home through Egypt, he saw the monuments that would later dominate his life, the perfect apprenticeship for Britain's man in Cairo. In 1815, Napoleon fell and Europe was remade. Peace refocused minds on global trade and influence. Egypt, under Muhammad Ali, was rising, ambitious, modernizing, strategically vital. In 1816, Henry Salt was appointed British Consul-General. He protected British trade, dealing with merchants, captains, customs. He was also a political operative, managing relations with Muhammad Ali. And he countered France's formidable consul, Bernardino Drovetti. Salt became the point of contact for Europe's travellers, scholars and adventurers. His office gave access, permissions to travel and excavate. He supplied escorts and support. Thus, consular duty merged with discovery. He was no bystander, he was a central participant in Egypt's great unearthing. Once established, Salt pursued antiquities with extraordinary energy, part cultural rivalry with France, part personal mission. Both he and Drovetti sought the finest treasures for national collections. Salt employed agents and sponsored expeditions along the Nile. His most effective agent was Giovanni Battista Belzoni, former circus strongman, fearless, ingenious. Salt tasked him to remove the granite bust of Rameses II, the younger Memnon, at Thebes. Napoleon's men had failed. In 1816, Belzoni's rollers and levers succeeded. The 7-ton monolith began its journey to London. Its arrival caused a sensation, echoed in Shelley's Ozymandias. In 1817, Belzoni opened the tomb of Seti I, walls alive with colour. He made meticulous copies and a wax impression of the exquisite sarcophagus. He entered Khafra's pyramid, disproving old beliefs. Salt's funding, cover and direction turned muscle into method, though by modern standards the methods were crude and fast. Over his years in Egypt, Salt assembled 3 enormous collections: systematic troves of statues, sarcophagi, papyri, mummies, and countless small objects. The first collection, gathered between 1816 and 1818, after protracted negotiations, was purchased by the British Museum in 1823. It formed the bedrock of the museum's Egyptian sculpture gallery. The second collection, richer for scholars, included Seti's sarcophagus. Offered again to the British Museum, it was controversially declined. Exhibited, then sold in Paris in 1826. Many key pieces, including crucial papyri, went to the Louvre. Seti's sarcophagus found a home with Sir John Soane, where it remains. Salt's third collection, over 1,000 objects, many stelae and Greek papyri, was gathered in his final years. After his death in 1827, it was sold in London in 1835. The British Museum bought heavily, no longer willing to miss its chance. Throughout his hectic life, Salt never abandoned art. His paintbrush and sketchbook were constant companions. Trained and composed, he captured likeness, colour and character. He recorded landscapes and monumental ruins, Karnak, Philae, Abu Simbel. He preserved their early 19th century appearance, often before decay or restoration. His portraits sought the dignity and individuality of his subjects, not mere types. His art bridged cultures, communication in line and colour. 24 views: St. Helena, the Cape, India, Ceylon, Abyssinia and Egypt. A visual autobiography, tracing his path from draftsman to consul. Before collector or diplomat, he was an artist, bringing an artist's eye to the ancient world. His fame rests on antiquities, yet his art, too often overlooked, remains vital. In his final years, Salt's health declined and weariness set in. The Egyptian climate, once invigorating, took its toll. A recurring illness, likely of the spleen or liver, left him weakened. The great game of collecting now felt a burden. Yet he served on, building a third collection. In 1826 he journeyed up the Nile, partly for health, partly to oversee his agents. With John Gardner Wilkinson, he revisited the sites that shaped his life. It was a poignant farewell to temples and tombs. He returned more unwell than ever, set his affairs in order, and wrote his will. He ensured his final collection would be catalogued and sold. Henry Salt died on October 30th, 1827, near Alexandria, in Dessouques. Buried in Alexandria, the gateway to his life's work, the sun set on one of the 19th century's most remarkable lives. Henry Salt's legacy is complex and far-reaching. The British Museum's Egyptian galleries stand on his efforts. He provided both monumental sculptures and intimate artifacts, bringing the pharaohs face-to-face with the public. His collections underpinned the rise of Egyptology, language, history, religion. He sponsored Belzoni, assisted Champollion, supported Wilkinson. He bridged treasure hunters and modern archaeologists, typical of his time, yet moving knowledge forward. His legacy is debated today. Ethics, ownership, repatriation. He operated with the ruler's permission, yet questions endure. Ultimately, Salt was a diplomat who grasped culture's power, an artist who prized beauty, a collector who recognized significance. His life mirrors Europe's encounter with Egypt. Wonder, competition, discovery, appropriation. His name may not rival Carter's or Ramesses, but as Egypt's gatekeeper, Henry Salt profoundly shaped how we see the ancient world. A palace for antiquities, the genesis of the Egyptian Museum. The Egyptian Museum in Cairo stands as a testament to a civilization that captivated the world for millennia. Its story began in the mid-19th century, a time when Egypt witnessed a resurgence of interest in its ancient past. Auguste Mariette, a French archaeologist, played a pivotal role. Mariette, alarmed by the plundering of ancient sites, advocated for the preservation of Egypt's heritage. His vision materialized in 1858 with the establishment of the Antiquities Service, the precursor to the museum. Housed initially in a modest building near the Boulak district, the collection grew rapidly. The Nile, however, had other plans. A devastating flood in 1878 threatened the burgeoning collection. The artifacts were meticulously moved to safety, but the event underscored the need for a more secure and permanent home. The pioneers, early curators, and their contributions. The museum found its current home in 1902 in a majestic edifice in Cairo's Tahrir Square. Designed by the French architect Marcel Dornion, the building itself is an impressive blend of neoclassical and ancient Egyptian styles. Its grand staircase and spacious halls provided an appropriate setting for the treasures within. Gaston Maspero, an eminent Egyptologist, succeeded Mariette as the museum's director. Maspero's tenure marked a period of significant expansion and scholarly rigor. He reorganized the collection, implemented modern museological practices, and published extensively on Egyptian history and culture. Another prominent figure was Howard Carter, whose discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922 catapulted the museum into the global spotlight. The subsequent arrival of Tutankhamun's treasures, including the iconic golden mask, drew crowds from around the world. Housing treasures, the museum's architectural evolution. The museum's layout, with its 2 floors, reflects a chronological and thematic organization. The ground floor houses heavier objects, including colossal statues, sarcophagi, and monumental pieces from various periods of Egyptian history. One can encounter imposing figures of pharaohs and deities. Upstairs, the focus shifts to smaller, more delicate artifacts. Rooms are dedicated to specific periods, such as the Old, Middle, and New Kingdoms, providing a comprehensive overview of Egypt's artistic and cultural evolution. Jewellery, pottery, papyri, and funerary objects offer intimate glimpses into the lives of ancient Egyptians. Over the decades, the museum has undergone expansions and renovations to accommodate its ever-growing collection. New wings and galleries have been added, and modern display techniques have been implemented to enhance the visitor experience. The Boy King's legacy, Tutankhamun's treasures unveiled. Among the museum's vast holdings, Tutankhamun's treasures occupy a place of unparalleled prominence. Discovered in 1922 by Howard Carter, the nearly intact tomb of the young pharaoh yielded a wealth of artifacts that captivated the world. The discovery provided an unprecedented glimpse into the opulence and artistry of ancient Egypt. At the heart of this collection lies Tutankhamun's golden mask, a masterpiece of funerary art. Crafted from solid gold and inlaid with semi-precious stones, the mask is a breathtaking example of ancient craftsmanship. Its serene expression and idealized features embody the youthful king's eternal afterlife. The mask, however, is but one of many treasures recovered from Tutankhamun's tomb. The museum houses a vast array of objects, including gilded chariots, ornate furniture, alabaster vessels, and a dazzling array of jewelry. Tutankhamun's tomb contained over 5,000 artifacts, each meticulously crafted and imbued with symbolic meaning. The chariots, for example, were not merely modes of transportation, but represented the king's power and divine status. The furniture, adorned with intricate carvings and inlays, served both practical and ritualistic purposes. The alabaster vessels, some shaped like animals or mythical creatures, held precious unguents and perfumes, essential for the king's journey to the afterlife. The jewellery, ranging from delicate necklaces to elaborate pectorals, showcased the skill of ancient Egyptian goldsmiths and reflected the king's status and wealth. The sheer quantity and quality of the artifacts from Tutankhamun's tomb provide an unparalleled understanding of the funerary practices, religious beliefs, and artistic achievements of ancient Egypt. The collection continues to captivate and inspire awe in visitors from around the world. Beyond Tutankhamun's treasures, the Egyptian Museum offers a comprehensive journey through millennia of Egyptian history. From the pre-dynastic period to the Greco-Roman era, the museum's collection spans over 5,000 years of civilization. Each artifact, whether a monumental statue or a humble amulet, provides a window into the past. The Old Kingdom, known for its pyramid building, is represented by colossal statues of pharaohs such as Djoser, Khufu, and Khafra. The Middle Kingdom, a period of political and cultural resurgence, is showcased through intricate jewellery, elegant sculptures, and finely crafted models of daily life. The New Kingdom, marked by imperial expansion and artistic innovation, is richly represented by objects from the reigns of powerful pharaohs like Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, and Rameses II. The museum also houses artifacts from later periods, including the Ptolemaic and Roman eras, reflecting the enduring legacy of ancient Egypt. Within the museum's walls, countless stories unfold, each object whispering tales of a bygone era. The Nama palette, for example, a ceremonial object dating back to the early dynastic period, depicts the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, a pivotal event in Egyptian history. The museum also houses a vast collection of papyri, ancient scrolls containing a wealth of information about Egyptian literature, religion, medicine, and daily life. The Book of the Dead, a collection of funerary texts, provides insights into Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. Beyond the iconic artifacts, the museum holds countless hidden gems, each with its own story to tell. A small amulet worn for protection, a child's toy, a scribe's palette. These everyday objects offer intimate glimpses into the lives of ancient Egyptians. The Egyptian Museum serves not only as a repository of artifacts, but also as a centre for research and conservation. A team of dedicated curators, archaeologists and conservators work tirelessly to preserve and study the collection, ensuring that future generations can appreciate the wonders of ancient Egypt. The museum's conservation laboratories are equipped with state-of-the-art technology, allowing experts to restore and preserve delicate objects. Researchers from around the world come to study the museum's collection, contributing to our understanding of Egyptian history, culture and art. The museum also plays a vital role in combating the illicit trafficking of antiquities. By raising awareness and collaborating with international organizations, the museum strives to protect Egypt's cultural heritage from looting and destruction. The Egyptian Museum in Cairo stands as a testament to one of the world's most enduring civilizations. Its vast and diverse collection, spanning millennia of history, continues to captivate and inspire awe in visitors from around the globe. From the iconic golden mask of Tutankhamun to the everyday objects of ordinary Egyptians, the museum offers a window into a world both familiar and extraordinary. As a centre for research, conservation and education, the museum plays a vital role in preserving Egypt's cultural heritage for future generations. Its mission extends beyond its walls, fostering a deeper appreciation for the achievements of ancient Egypt and inspiring a sense of wonder at the ingenuity, creativity and resilience of the human spirit. Giovanni Battista Belzoni was a man of extraordinary strength and even greater ambition. His life was a testament to the power of determination and the pursuit of one's passions. Born in Padua, Italy in 1778, he towered over most at 6 feet 7 inches tall. His imposing stature was matched only by his larger-than-life personality and unyielding drive. Belzoni's early life was a colourful tapestry of adventure and enterprise. From a young age, he was fascinated by the world around him and sought to make his mark in it. He trained as a monk but felt drawn to a different path. The monastic life, with its quiet contemplation, could not contain his restless spirit. Europe in the late 18th century was in turmoil. The continent was a hotbed of political upheaval and social change, providing a backdrop for Belzoni's own transformations. Belzoni travelled widely, reinventing himself as a strong man in a travelling circus. His performances were not just about brute strength, they were a showcase of his ingenuity and showmanship. He captivated audiences with feats of strength and hydraulic inventions. His innovative spirit led him to create devices that amazed and entertained people across Europe. Yet his curious mind craved more. The life of a performer, though thrilling, was not enough to satisfy his intellectual hunger. Fate intervened when Belzoni found himself in Egypt in 1815. The allure of the ancient land, with its rich history and enigmatic monuments, was irresistible to him. The land of the Pharaohs, with its ancient mysteries, called to him. It was a place where he could combine his physical prowess with his intellectual curiosity. Little did he know he was about to embark on a journey that would change his life and the course of archaeology forever. His adventures in Egypt would lead to discoveries that would astonish the world. Belzoni's name would soon be synonymous with some of the most remarkable discoveries in Egyptian history. His legacy as a pioneering explorer and archaeologist would endure for generations to come. Egypt in the early 19th century was a land of opportunity for those with a thirst for discovery. Napoleon's expedition had rekindled Europe's fascination with ancient Egypt. The race was on to uncover its treasures. Belzoni, with his towering physique and unwavering determination, was perfectly suited for the task. He quickly became involved in the competitive world of antiquities hunting. He secured patronage from the British Consul, Henry Salt, who recognized his potential. His first major assignment was to acquire a colossal bust of Rameses II. This 7-ton relic, known as Young Memnon, lay abandoned near the Ramesseum at Thebes. Transporting this behemoth seemed an impossible feat. Yet Belzoni, with his engineering skills and sheer willpower, was undeterred. Moving the 7-ton bust of Rameses II was a logistical nightmare, a challenge that tested the limits of early 19th century engineering and human endurance. The scorching desert heat, the lack of proper roads, and the sheer size of the statue presented formidable obstacles. The harsh environment was unforgiving, with temperatures soaring and the terrain offering no mercy. But Belzoni, with his characteristic ingenuity, devised a plan. His background as a circus strongman and engineer gave him unique insights into overcoming such monumental challenges. He assembled a team of hundreds of Egyptian labourers, each playing a crucial role in this Herculean task. They used palm tree trunks as rollers and levers to inch the massive bust forward. This method, though primitive, was effective in distributing the weight and making the statue movable. The operation took months of back-breaking work under the relentless Egyptian sun. The labourers toiled day and night, driven by the vision of completing this extraordinary task. Finally, against all odds, Belzoni succeeded in transporting the colossal bust to the Nile. This was a moment of triumph, a testament to human perseverance and ingenuity. From there it journeyed by boat to Alexandria and eventually to its final destination, the British Museum in London. The journey by water was no less challenging, requiring careful navigation and handling. This remarkable feat of engineering and determination cemented Belzoni's reputation as a legend in the field of archaeology. His success not only brought the bust to a global audience, but also highlighted the incredible achievements of ancient and modern engineering. Belzoni's exploits were far from over. His adventures in Egypt had only just begun, and he was determined to uncover more of its hidden treasures. In 1817, he set his sights on Nubia, a region in southern Egypt renowned for its ancient temples. This area, rich in history and mystery, called to him like a siren's song. His mission to locate and excavate the temple of Abu Simbel. This was no ordinary task. It was a quest that required both courage and ingenuity. This temple, carved into a sandstone cliff, was said to be buried beneath the desert sands. Legends spoke of its grandeur, hidden away for centuries. Guided by local stories and his own intuition, Belzoni found the temple's entrance, half submerged in sand. It was a moment of triumph, but the real work was just beginning. The task of clearing the entrance was monumental. The sheer volume of sand that had to be removed was staggering. Once again, Belzoni rallied a team of workers. These men, driven by the promise of discovery, worked under the scorching sun. They laboured tirelessly, removing tons of sand by hand. Each shovelful brought them closer to unveiling the ancient marvel. Finally, the entrance to the temple, adorned with colossal statues of Rameses II, was revealed. These statues, standing guard for millennia, were a sight to behold. Belzoni's discovery of Abu Simbel was a sensation. News of the find spread quickly, capturing the imagination of people around the world. It offered the world a glimpse into the grandeur and power of the ancient Egyptian civilization. The Temple of Abu Simbel became a symbol of the enduring legacy of Egypt's past. Belzoni's most celebrated discovery, however, awaited him in the Valley of the Kings. In 1817, he stumbled upon a hidden tomb. It belonged to Seti I, father of Rameses II. The tomb, untouched for millennia, was a treasure trove of ancient art and history. Its walls were adorned with vibrant paintings depicting scenes from Egyptian mythology. The colours were as fresh as the day they were painted. Belzoni meticulously documented his findings. He created detailed drawings and took plaster casts of the tomb's decorations. He understood the importance of preserving this fragile record of the past. His work in the tomb of Seti I set a new standard for archaeological documentation. Belzoni's thirst for knowledge led him to explore the most iconic monuments of Egypt, the pyramids of Giza. In 1818, he turned his attention to the Pyramid of Khafra. This pyramid, the second largest at Giza, had never been successfully explored. Undeterred by the dangers and difficulties, Belzoni discovered a hidden passage. He bravely entered the pyramid's depths. After weeks of painstaking effort, he reached the burial chamber. The chamber, however, was empty. It had been looted in antiquity. Despite the disappointment, Belzoni's achievement was remarkable. He was the first person in centuries to penetrate the secrets of Khafra's pyramid. Belzoni's adventures were not confined to Egypt. He explored the ancient city of Thebes, searching for the lost oasis of Siwa. He ventured into the heart of the Sahara Desert. He braved treacherous journeys and faced countless dangers, all in the name of exploration and discovery. His travels took him beyond Egypt to the Red Sea and even across the Atlantic to the Americas. Belzoni's life was a testament to the power of human curiosity and the allure of the unknown. His explorations, documented in his journals and drawings, provided invaluable insights into the geography, history and cultures of the regions he visited. Belzoni's work extended far beyond the realm of archaeology. He was a true pioneer, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and experience. Tragically, Belzoni's adventurous life was cut short. He died in 1823 at the age of 45 from dysentery while on an expedition in West Africa. Despite his untimely death, Giovanni Belzoni left an indelible mark on the world. His discoveries in Egypt captivated the public imagination. He brought to light some of the most iconic treasures of ancient Egypt. His meticulous documentation of his findings set a new standard for archaeological practice. Belzoni's legacy extends beyond his individual discoveries. He helped to ignite a passion for Egyptology that continues to this day. His story serves as a reminder of the power of human curiosity and the importance of preserving our shared cultural heritage. Giovanni Belzoni lived in a time of great change and discovery. The world was opening up. Explorers like Belzoni were at the forefront, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. His life and work offer us a fascinating glimpse into the past. They remind us of the importance of exploration, the thrill of discovery, and the enduring power of human curiosity. Belzoni's story is a testament to the enduring allure of ancient Egypt. It is a land of mystery and wonder. It continues to captivate and inspire us centuries after Belzoni first set foot on its shores. His legacy lives on, not just in the museums that house his discoveries, but in the hearts and minds of all who are drawn to the mysteries of the past. Imagine, if you will, a vast sun-drenched plain. The mighty Nile River flows nearby, its waters a ribbon of life through the arid land. Here on the west bank, opposite the modern city of Luxor, stand two giants, their immense figures carved from single blocks of stone. They sit silently on thrones, facing the rising sun. For more than 3,000 years they've watched empires rise and fall. They've seen countless dawns break over the Theban hills. These are the Colossi of Memnon, twin statues of a great pharaoh, frozen in time yet somehow alive-looking. They're the last remnants of a world long vanished. These figures are truly colossal. Each rises to about 60 feet, roughly the height of a modern 5-story building, carved from quartzite sandstone, an incredibly hard stone. Their weight is staggering, over 700 tons each. Imagine stacking more than 100 adult African elephants. For centuries they've sat, weathered by wind and sand, features worn, bodies cracked, but presence utterly commanding, not merely statues, guardians of a forgotten gateway. These two statues did not always sit in such lonely isolation. Behind them stretched one of the largest and most opulent mortuary temples ever built in Egypt. It was the temple of Pharaoh Amenhotep III. The temple complex covered a vast area sprawling over nearly 87 acres. Today almost nothing of it remains above ground. The annual floods of the Nile have washed it all away. Imagine this temple in its heyday. A long avenue lined with sphinxes would have led visitors towards the main entrance. Great courtyards filled with statues, columns opened up one after another, walls covered in vibrant reliefs depicting the pharaoh's great deeds. Priests would have performed daily rituals, their chants echoing through the sacred spaces. Only the two colossal quartzite statues were too massive, too heavy to be moved, and so they remain, solitary witnesses to the grandeur that once lay behind them. For centuries, the northern Colossus held a strange and captivating secret. Following a powerful earthquake in 27 BC, which shattered its upper half, the statue began to sing at dawn. As the first rays of sunlight warmed the cool morning stone, a strange musical sound would emerge from the fractured giant. It was described by early travellers as a sad, whistling moan, or sometimes like the snapping of a harp string. This phenomenon turned the silent stone giant into an ancient oracle. People travelled from all corners of the Roman Empire, from Greece to Rome, to hear the mysterious sound for themselves. The Greeks and the Romans re-identified the statues. They did not see the Egyptian pharaoh Amenhotep III. Instead, they saw Memnon, the mythical hero king of Ethiopia. In Greek mythology, Memnon was the son of Eos, the goddess of the dawn. He had fought bravely in the Trojan War, only to be slain by the great warrior Achilles. The Romans believed that the mournful sound was Memnon crying out to his mother, the dawn goddess, each morning as she greeted him with her light. Distinguished visitors, including several Roman emperors, made the pilgrimage. The Emperor Hadrian and his wife Sabina visited in 130 AD and heard the sound on multiple occasions. These visitors often left inscriptions on the statue's legs and base. Like a visitor's book carved in stone, tell us who came, when they came, and whether they were fortunate enough to hear the lament of Memnon. Around the year 199 AD, the Roman Emperor Septimius Severus had the fractured upper half of the statue repaired using several blocks of sandstone. His intention was to honor the oracle, but by repairing the statue, he inadvertently silenced it. Memnon fell silent and has remained so ever since. The creation of these stone giants began at a place called Gebel El Ahmar, near modern-day Cairo, over 400 miles to the north. they freed two monolithic blocks. The massive block was likely dragged on a wooden sledge from the quarry to the banks of the Nile River. At the river, the block was loaded onto an enormous barge. The journey up the Nile was a slow and majestic procession. Arriving at Thebes was only half the battle. They painstakingly hauled the blocks into their final positions. Once positioned, the final carving could begin. A process of subtraction revealed the divine figure from raw quartzite. The man immortalized in these two colossal statues was a real and incredibly powerful ruler, Pharaoh Amenhotep III. He reigned during the 18th dynasty, the golden age of ancient Egypt. His reign brought remarkable stability, unprecedented prosperity, and breathtaking artistic achievement. He was the greatest builder of his age. His construction projects were vast and numerous, transforming the landscape of Egypt. The most ambitious of all Amenhotep III's projects was his own mortuary temple. It was a place where Amenhotep III, the living man, could merge with his own divine image and be worshipped as a god on earth. Their purpose was to announce the divine nature of the temple's owner and to magically protect the sacred precinct that lay behind them. They were the eternal watchers at the threshold of the pharaoh's heavenly mansion. The Colossi of Memnon have endured more than just the passage of 3 millennia. They've survived centuries of natural disasters and human interference. Later pharaohs and Roman builders plundered the site. The annual flooding of the Nile River was a relentless enemy to the monuments on the floodplain. For centuries, folks believed the Grand Mortuary Temple was lost forever. But since 1998, a dedicated team of archaeologists has been working to uncover the secrets buried beneath the soil. The most exciting discoveries have been the hundreds of statues and statue fragments that have been pulled from the mud, especially the lioness-headed goddess Sekhmet. In a remarkable effort, they've lifted and restored several other colossal statues, placing them back in their original positions. The lost temple is slowly and honestly, quite magically, rising from the earth once more. Long after the Roman pilgrims had departed, the Colossi continued to exert a powerful pull on the human imagination, portraying them as sublime, melancholic figures brooding over a lost golden age. Today, millions of tourists from every corner of the globe make the journey to stand at their feet. Their silhouettes at sunrise have become a defining visual of a trip to Luxor. They have been oracles, landmarks, romantic ruins, and scientific treasures. They have watched over the land as beliefs, languages, and empires have turned to dust around them. The Colossi of Memnon are more than just stone and more than just history. They are a vital part of our shared human heritage. Silent sentinels watching over the eternal dawn of civilization. Their mystery and majesty an enduring gift to the world. They will continue to inspire awe and wonder for as long as they stand. If you look closer, the Colossi of Memnon have even more secrets to share, some only revealed in recent years. Once, these giants were not the sun-bleached sandstone we see today. Traces of vibrant pigment suggest their surfaces gleamed with colour. Deep reds, ochres, hints of blue, hints of green. Imagine sunlight dancing on painted crowns, royal regalia, transforming the statues into dazzling guardians of the temple. Centuries of visitors have left their own marks on these ancient titans. Greek travellers, Roman travellers carved their names and messages into the stone. These ancient graffitis still whisper stories of distant lands and long-forgotten hopes, etched for eternity at the feet of pharaohs. Today, the Colossi stand at the crossroads of past and future. Conservators, scientists protect them from erosion, pollution, the relentless march of time. 3D scanning, seismic monitoring experts peering inside the stone, mapping hidden cracks, mapping subtle shifts that could threaten their stability. Each scan helps preserve a digital replica, safeguarding their likeness even as the originals age. Recent discoveries continue to surprise. New fragments, once believed lost, have surfaced, adding missing pieces to the puzzle of the mortuary temple. Were there once matching statues to the north and south? Could undiscovered chambers lie beneath the sand? Modern tourists gaze up in wonder, becoming part of the Colossi's living story, one still unfolding, layer by layer in the Egyptian sun. The silent sentinels endure as ever-evolving witnesses to the dreams and questions of every new generation. Few know that these ancient guardians may have served as celestial markers. Some researchers believe the statues were aligned to greet the rising sun at solstice, their massive forms casting long shadows that tracked the passage of time. Inscriptions found nearby hint at rituals performed at dawn priests, invoking the power of the gods as sunlight touched the stone faces. Were the Colossi silent astronomers watching the heavens as well as the Nile? In recent years, restoration efforts have sparked passionate controversy. Advanced cleaning techniques promise to revive lost details, but some experts warned, could aggressive methods erase precious traces of pigment or ancient tool marks? A delicate balance emerged, preserving the statues for the future without silencing their past. Modern technology is peeling back layers of mystery. Meanwhile, microanalysis of the sandstone has traced its origins to distant quarries, raising new questions about the logistics and labor behind their creation. Perhaps most surprising, scientists have uncovered evidence that the Colossi's voices might not be entirely silent today. Under certain conditions, as the desert cools at dawn, faint vibrations have been recorded, echoes of the ancient singing phenomenon, now understood as a rare interplay of temperature, stone and air. Each discovery deepens our fascination. The Colossi of Memnon remain not just relics, but partners in a timeless dialogue. As the sun rises over the Theban plain, the Colossi of Memnon stand not only as sentinels of Egypt's ancient past, but as treasures cherished by all humanity. Today, these monumental figures are protected as part of the Theban necropolis, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for its unparalleled historical and cultural significance. This prestigious status brings the eyes of the world to Luxor, and with them a global commitment to preservation. International experts, local artisans and passionate volunteers unite under the blue and white banner of UNESCO, working tirelessly to conserve not just the Colossi, but the entire necropolis, home to the Valley of the Kings, the Valley of the Queens, temples, tombs. Sweeping aerial views reveal the scale of this sacred landscape, while close-ups show careful hands at work, restoring weathered stone, monitoring environmental changes, and ensuring that every detail is protected for generations yet to come. UNESCO plaques stand as silent promises, reminders that the story of the Colossi of ancient Egypt itself belongs to people everywhere. Through global stewardship and shared pride, the Colossi of Memnon endure. Their shadows stretch into the future, icons of resilience, memory and hope. In safeguarding these giants, we honor the dreams of the past and inspire the promise of tomorrow. Long before the modern world recognized the Colossi of Memnon as a universal heritage, these monumental statues captivated the imaginations of distant civilizations. Among the most enchanted were the ancient Greeks, travelers, scholars, and adventurers. Through the eyes of Greek visitors, the Colossi became more than silent sentinels. They were transformed into legends. Greek historians, poets, and explorers like Strabo and Pausanias recorded their awe in vivid detail. Some arrived at dawn hoping to hear the mysterious singing of the northern statue. They believed it was the voice of Memnon, son of Eos, goddess of the dawn, greeting his mother with a mournful melody at sunrise. Manuscripts and ancient sketches reveal Greek artists trying to capture the statue's grandeur. Charcoal strokes tracing enigmatic features that seem both familiar and otherworldly. Greek myths blended with Egyptian history, weaving new stories around the Colossi. Tales of Memnon as a tragic hero of the Trojan War, his spirit lingering in stone, bridging two great cultures. This fascination sparked exchanges of art, language and belief. Greek and Egyptian craftsmen shared techniques, and Hellenistic motifs began to appear in local art. The Colossi featured in Greek writings, inspiring generations of artists and thinkers, echoing through the centuries as symbols of mystery and connection. Statues bathed in golden light, we see them anew, not just as Egyptian marvels, but as beacons that once drew the curious and the wise from across the ancient world. In their silent watch, the Colossi of Memnon remind us of the timeless human quest, to seek, to wonder, to share in the marvels of our past. Gold, a symbol of power, purity, and eternal life. Since time immemorial, it has captivated civilizations across the globe. From the sun-drenched sands of ancient Egypt to the bustling cities of today, gold has held an irresistible fascination. Its brilliance and rarity have made it the ultimate symbol of wealth and prestige. For the ancient Egyptians, gold was deeply intertwined with their beliefs, rituals, and their very perception of the cosmos. In the land of Pharaohs, where the scorching sun beat down upon the fertile banks of the Nile, gold flowed like the lifeblood of a mighty civilization. From the towering pyramids to the humblest amulets, gold was omnipresent, a testament to Egypt's enduring legacy. Join us now as we embark on a captivating journey through time. Our journey begins in the mines where the quest for this precious metal shaped the destiny of a nation. The ancient Egyptians believed that gold was no mere earthly element. It was a celestial gift born from the very tears of Ra, the sun god. As Ra wept tears of joy, they fell to the earth, transforming into shimmering nuggets of gold. This divine origin imbued gold with a sacred aura, elevating it above all other metals. It became synonymous with the sun's radiance, its life-giving warmth, and its association with royalty and power. To obtain this divine metal, the ancient Egyptians embarked on arduous expeditions to remote corners of their empire. From the Nubian desert in the south to the Sinai Peninsula in the east, they established vast mining operations driven by an insatiable thirst for the precious metal. Miners, often prisoners of war or labourers conscripted into service, toiled in stifling heat and cramped conditions. Using rudimentary tools of copper and stone, they chipped away at the hard rock, following veins of gold deep into the earth. The extracted ore, a mixture of rock and precious metal, was then transported, often on the backs of donkeys or by boat along the Nile, to smelting centres. There, skilled craftsmen employed ingenious techniques to separate the gold from its impurities. Using furnaces fueled by charcoal, they heated the ore to extreme temperatures, melting the gold and allowing it to be collected. This arduous process yielded the precious metal that would adorn temples, tombs, and the bodies of pharaohs. Gold, in the eyes of the ancient Egyptians, transcended its material value. It was not merely a symbol of wealth or status, but a divine substance intrinsically linked to the very essence of their gods. They called it the flesh of the gods, a tangible manifestation of the celestial realm on earth. This belief permeated every aspect of their religious life, from the grand temples to the smallest amulets. The Egyptians saw a powerful connection between gold and the sun, the life-giving force of their world. Gold, with its radiant glow, seemed to embody the very essence of the sun's energy. Ra, the sun god, was often depicted with golden skin, his body emanating a warm, ethereal light. The pharaohs, considered to be divine intermediaries between the gods and the people, were also closely associated with gold. Their tombs were filled with golden treasures, their bodies adorned with golden masks and jewellery. Gold played a pivotal role in the Egyptians' elaborate burial rituals. Amulets crafted from gold, often depicting protective deities or sacred symbols, were placed within the tombs, their presence intended to ward off evil spirits and ensure a safe passage to the underworld. The Egyptians believed that the deceased needed to be adorned with gold in order to be recognized by the gods in the afterlife. This belief fueled the creation of exquisite funerary goods, from intricately crafted jewelry to elaborate sarcophagi, all lavishly adorned with gold. While gold held profound religious significance in ancient Egypt, its use extended far beyond temples and tombs. For the elite, gold was a ubiquitous symbol of their status, adorning everything from furniture and chariots to clothing and jewelry. Wealthy Egyptians adorned themselves with elaborate gold necklaces, rings and earrings, showcasing their prosperity and refined taste. Craftsmen transformed gold into exquisite objects, both grand and intimate. They mastered techniques like granulation, filigree and cloisonne, creating intricate designs that showcased their mastery over this precious metal. Even among the common people, gold held a special allure. Amulets made of gold, often depicting protective deities, were highly sought after for their perceived power to ward off evil and bring good fortune. The most lavish and awe-inspiring use of gold, however, was reserved for the gods themselves and the pharaohs who served as their earthly representatives. Temples dedicated to honoring the gods were adorned with staggering quantities of gold, transforming them into dazzling displays of wealth and devotion. Walls shimmered with gold leaf, statues of deities gleamed under the sun's rays, and even the most mundane objects, like offering bowls and incense burners, were often crafted from this precious metal. The Egyptians believed that by adorning their temples with gold, they were creating a fitting abode for the gods, a realm worthy of their divine presence. Pharaohs, considered to be living gods, were also inextricably linked to gold. Their tombs, elaborate structures designed to ensure their safe passage to the afterlife, were veritable treasure troves filled with unimaginable quantities of gold. The abundance of gold buried with pharaohs served multiple purposes. It was a potent symbol of their power and status, showcasing their wealth and divine right to rule even in death. Gold was believed to possess transformative properties, capable of elevating the pharaoh's spirit and facilitating their journey to the afterlife. Beyond its religious and symbolic importance, gold also played a vital role in the ancient Egyptian economy. It served as a form of currency, used to facilitate trade and pay taxes. The Egyptians controlled vast gold mines, primarily located in Nubia and the eastern desert. The allure of gold extended far beyond the borders of ancient Egypt. Its reputation as a precious and enduring metal spread throughout the ancient world, attracting merchants and traders from distant lands. Egypt, with its vast gold reserves and its strategic location at the crossroads of major trade routes, became a hub of international commerce. From the bustling ports of the Nile Delta to the desert oases that dotted the caravan routes, gold flowed in and out of Egypt, fueling a thriving economy. Merchants, their ships laden with goods from distant shores, arrived eager to exchange their wares for this highly sought-after metal. The Egyptians, in turn, sought luxury goods not available within their own borders, such as cedarwood from Lebanon, lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, and ebony and ivory from sub-Saharan Africa. The ancient Egyptians forged significant trade relationships with the land of Punt, located along the Red Sea or Horn of Africa. Punt was renowned for its exotic goods, including incense, ebony, ivory, and gold. Egyptians launched expeditions to Punt, braving treacherous seas. These expeditions were recorded on temple walls, showcasing their seafaring capabilities. Reliefs from Hatshepsut's temple depict ships laden with treasures from Punt. Trade with Punt was reciprocal. Egyptians offered gold, linen, papyrus, and manufactured goods in exchange. Gold, beyond its role as a commodity, also served as a powerful tool of diplomacy in ancient Egypt. Pharaohs, keen to maintain peaceful relations with their neighbours or to secure their borders from potential threats, often employed gold as a diplomatic gift. These gifts, presented with great ceremony and accompanied by lavish pronouncements of friendship and goodwill, served to strengthen alliances and deter aggression. The Egyptians also used gold to secure their access to vital resources, such as timber from the cedar forests of Lebanon or turquoise from the Sinai Peninsula. By offering generous payments in gold, the Egyptians ensured a steady supply of these essential materials, which were crucial for their construction projects, shipbuilding, and the creation of luxury goods. The flow of gold into and out of Egypt, driven by trade, diplomacy, and conquest, had a profound impact on the ancient world. While gold reigned supreme in ancient Egypt, other materials were equally prized for their beauty and rarity. Lapis lazuli, a deep blue stone, was especially valued for its intense colour and celestial associations. Mined in Afghanistan, it symbolized the heavens and the divine. The funerary mask of Tutankhamun showcases lapis lazuli alongside gold, symbolizing wealth and power. Turquoise, a vibrant blue-green mineral, was mined in the Sinai Peninsula and other arid regions. Its colour, reminiscent of water and vegetation, symbolized fertility, renewal and protection. Turquoise was used in amulets and jewellery for its perceived magical properties. Obsidian, a volcanic glass, symbolized both chaos and protection. Its sharp edges made it ideal for tools and weapons. Skilled artisans transformed these materials into exquisite objects. These stones enriched the artistic vocabulary of ancient Egypt. Journeying through ancient Egypt, we explore the golden legacy of a civilization that revered its beauty and power. Gold held a sacred place, embodying the sun's radiance and the god's immortality. From mines to workshops, artisans crafted objects of beauty and meaning. Gold adorned temples, tombs and bodies, symbolizing wealth and eternity. It played a vital role in the economy, facilitating trade and diplomacy. The allure of gold connected Egypt to distant civilizations, shaping history. The legacy of ancient Egypt's fascination with gold continues to resonate today. The dazzling artifacts recovered from their tombs, preserved for millennia by the dry desert climate, still captivate our imaginations, offering a glimpse into a civilization that valued beauty, craftsmanship, and the enduring power of this precious metal. As we marvel at the golden treasures of ancient Egypt, we are reminded of the enduring human fascination with this precious metal. Across cultures and throughout history, gold has symbolized wealth, power, beauty, and the divine. It has adorned our bodies, our places of worship, and our most prized possessions. The ancient Egyptians, with their profound reverence for gold, offer us a unique perspective on the enduring allure of this precious metal. They remind us that beyond its material value, gold holds a deeper significance, reflecting our aspirations for beauty, eternity, and a connection to something greater than ourselves. On the west bank of the Nile, opposite Luxor, lies the Theban necropolis, a city of the dead that has fascinated the world for centuries. Here, pharaohs of Egypt's new kingdom chose their final resting places, with monumental tombs and temples rising from the desert. Among these, one complex stands out for its preservation and dramatic history, Medinet Habu. Medinet Habu's heart is the mortuary temple of Rameses III. Its towering pylons and decorated halls dominate the landscape. Built as a temple of millions of years, it was meant to secure the king's legacy and union with the gods. Its walls vividly recount Egypt's struggle against the Sea Peoples, mysterious raiders who threatened to plunge the world into chaos. Here, Rameses III is immortalized as the savior of Egypt, his victories carved in stone. The mortuary temple of Rameses III is the last monumental temple of the new kingdom, a final statement of Egypt's power and artistry. Modelled after the Ramesseum, it was both a reassurance to his people and a warning to his enemies. By echoing his predecessor, Rameses the Great, Rameses III claimed his place in a legacy of greatness. The temple stands as a bridge to Egypt's glorious past during a time of crisis. Medinet Habu's temple is unique for its fortress-like design, with double walls and a Syrian-style Migdal gate. Built during an age of turmoil, its defences reflect the anxieties of the era: famine, invasion and collapse. The reliefs show Rameses III defending Egypt from Sea Peoples and Libyan tribes. The temple was both sanctuary and stronghold, embodying the pharaoh's role as Egypt's protector. The temple's walls are a vast historical record, over 7,000 square meters of reliefs. They chronicle not just battles, but ceremonies and daily life, making Medinet Habu a treasure trove for Egyptologists. The Sea People's wars are depicted in detail, showing the chaos and heroism of Egypt's defense. Without these carvings, much of this pivotal history would be lost. The name Medinet Habu is layered with history. Arabic for City of Habu, possibly linked to a Coptic saint or the deified architect Amenhotep, son of Hapu. His cult's influence may have given the site its enduring name. Ironically, the temple of a warrior king may bear the name of a wise scribe and builder. Medinet Habu's identity reflects centuries of adaptation and memory. Before Rameses III, this land was sacred as Geme, the site where creation myths placed the burial of the Ogdoad, 8 primordial gods. Early temples here honoured the creator god Amun, drawing royal patronage for centuries. Rameses III built his temple atop this holy ground, absorbing its ancient power. In doing so, he linked his legacy to the very origins of creation and renewal. For centuries, Medinet Habu was buried and forgotten, until Napoleon's expedition brought it to light. Artist Vivant Denon was among the first Europeans to document its grandeur, sketching its ruins and reliefs. His work revealed the temple's scale and artistry to Europe, sparking new fascination with ancient Egypt. Denon's illustrations became the world's first glimpse of this lost masterpiece. Decades later, Jean-François Champollion, who deciphered hieroglyphs, visited Medinet Habu. He could finally read the temple's inscriptions, identifying Rameses III and the stories of the Sea Peoples. With Champollion, the temple's silent walls became a living historical narrative. Medinet Habu's voice was restored after millennia of silence. The approach to the temple is pure pharaonic propaganda. Colossal pylons show Rameses III smiting his enemies. Inside, the first court features Osiris statues of the king, symbolizing his divine and eternal role. The royal palace connects directly to the temple, merging the king's earthly and divine identities. From the window of appearances, the pharaoh addressed his people, blending power and piety. Medinet Habu remains a testament to the enduring might and mystery of ancient Egypt. The second pylon of Medinet Habu marks the gateway to the temple's sacred heart. Stepping through, you enter the second court, where the atmosphere shifts to religious solemnity. This perfectly preserved peristyle court, surrounded by colonnades, feels secluded and sacred. The walls are alive with vibrant reliefs, depicting grand religious festivals and processions. Beyond lies the hypostyle hall, its massive columns evoking awe. As you move deeper, the temple narrows and darkens, drawing you closer to the divine. Medinet Habu's walls are more than architecture. They're a vivid chronicle of history. The northern wall's dramatic reliefs show Rameses III's epic battle against the Sea Peoples. These scenes are breathtaking in detail and scope. We see Egyptian soldiers, fierce battles, and the only large-scale sea battle from the New Kingdom. Artists carefully depicted the Sea Peoples like the feathered Peliset and horned Sheridan. Without these reliefs, our knowledge of this pivotal moment would be almost lost. Attached directly to the southern wall of the mortuary temple's first court lies the faint footprint of a building that served a very different purpose, the royal palace of Rameses III. While only the low stone foundations remain today, they map out a complex that was once a vibrant centre of courtly life. This was the pharaoh's official residence when he was in Thebes, a place for ceremony, administration, and personal relaxation. Its direct connection to the temple was highly symbolic, creating a seamless link between the king's mortal, administrative role and his divine, eternal persona. From here, he could move between his worldly duties and his sacred obligations without ever leaving the sanctity of the fortified enclosure, a physical representation of his dual nature. The palace was constructed primarily of mud brick, which well explains its poor state of preservation compared to the stone temple it adjoined. However, archaeological excavations have revealed a great deal about its layout and function. It contained audience halls, private apartments for the royal family, bathrooms and bedrooms. A key feature was the window of appearances, a raised balcony that opened into the temple's first court. From this window, the pharaoh would appear before his subjects, soldiers and courtiers gathered below. It was a stage for the pageantry of kingship, a place from which Rameses III could bestow honours upon loyal officials and display the spoils of war, reinforcing his status as the supreme and generous ruler of the land of Egypt. Just outside the eastern high gate of the main enclosure lie a series of small, beautifully decorated chapels that add another important historical layer to the site. These are the Sait chapels, which served as the tombs for the gods' wives of Amun from the 25th and 26th dynasties, a period centuries after Rameses III. These powerful women were high priestesses of the Amun cult who held immense religious and political authority in Thebes. Figures like Amenhotep I, Shepenwepet II, and Nitocris I chose to be buried here to be close to the sacred ground of Djemme and the primeval gods, continuing the site's tradition as a place of immense spiritual gravity and prestige for Egypt's elite. These tomb chapels are exquisite examples of the art and architecture of the late period, which often looked back to older styles for inspiration. They are like miniature temples, complete with their own courtyards, offering halls and burial chambers. The quality of the relief carving is exceptionally fine, showcasing a delicate and precise style that stands in contrast to the bolder work of Rameses III's era. The survival of these chapels demonstrates that Medinet Habu remained a focal point for worship and elite burial long after the New Kingdom had ended. It was a place whose sanctity and importance endured through the changing fortunes of dynasties, continually attracting the powerful and pious to its hallowed ground. The story of Medinet Habu does not end with the fall of the pharaohs or the burials of the high priestesses. As the ancient Egyptian religion waned, a new faith began to spread across the Nile Valley Christianity. During the Coptic period, from roughly the 4th to the 7th centuries AD, the massive fortified enclosure of Rameses III's temple offered a perfect sanctuary. Its high walls provided security in an often unstable world, and its expansive courts and halls offered ready-made spaces for a new community to inhabit. The site, once known as Djemme, became a thriving Coptic town, one of the most significant Christian centres in the Theban region. The ancient temple was given a new lease on life, its purpose radically transformed. This later settlement left a profound mark on the monument. The residents built their mud brick houses and workshops directly within the temple's courtyards, their simple dwellings leaning against the colossal hieroglyph-covered walls. Soot from their cooking fires blackened the ceilings of ancient halls, and doorways were cut into sacred chapels. Most dramatically, the great second court, the Court of the Feasts, was converted into a large Christian basilica. Columns were rearranged and an altar was erected. The vibrant reliefs depicting pharaonic festivals were covered over with plaster and painted with images of Christian saints, a powerful symbol of one world being built directly upon the foundations of another, a new sacred narrative overwriting the old one. Medinet Habu is far more than a collection of ancient ruins. It is a living chronicle of human history, where echoes of empires and faiths converge. Its story begins on a sacred mound, finds power in the ambition of Rameses III, and endures through centuries of change. The mortuary temple stands as a defiant roar from the New Kingdom, its walls preserving the dramatic saga of the Sea Peoples and the Pharaoh's legacy. Here we walk the same processional paths as the ancients, surrounded by stories carved in stone. Medinet Habu's layers, from pharaohs to Coptic Christians, reveal a place never abandoned, always repurposed. Its legacy is survival of a kingdom, a king's name, and a sacred ground that endures as a silent witness to the rise and fall of civilizations. Today, Medinet Habu inspires as a timeless monument to the resilience of the human spirit, a story written in stone for the world to read. Egypt, ancient, storied, and for centuries ruled by the Greek Ptolemies, stood as a beacon of culture and power. Alexandria, its capital, was famed for its library and lighthouse, a hub of knowledge and trade. But the dynasty's last ruler, Cleopatra VII, was different. She embraced Egyptian language and religion, presenting herself as the goddess Isis. A shrewd leader, Cleopatra fought to keep Egypt independent as the Ptolemaic Golden Age faded. Rome's grip on Egypt tightened gradually, turning the Ptolemies into dependent clients. Cleopatra, recognizing Rome's dominance, forged alliances with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony, hoping to secure Egypt's future. Their partnership, both romantic and political, challenged Rome's new leader, Octavian, setting the stage for a final confrontation. Rome itself was in turmoil. The Republic, overwhelmed by its own expansion, was torn by social strife and civil war. Ambitious generals like Marius, Sulla and Pompey vied for power, eroding old Republican values and paving the way for warlords to dominate the political landscape. The assassination of Julius Caesar plunged Rome into chaos, leading to the rise of the Second Triumvirate, Octavian, Antony and Lepidus, who divided the Roman world among themselves. Antony took the east and soon allied with Cleopatra, drawn by her resources and charisma. Their alliance, both strategic and passionate, aimed to secure their power, but would ultimately provoke Rome's wrath and set the stage for a final confrontation. The showdown came at Actium in 31 BC. Antony and Cleopatra's fleet was outmaneuvered by Octavian's admiral Agrippa. Cleopatra's sudden retreat led Antony to abandon the fight, sealing their defeat. Their dream of an Eastern Empire collapsed, and Egypt's fate was sealed. Octavian, now Augustus, made Egypt his personal domain, Rome's breadbasket and treasury. He barred senators from entering without permission, ensuring no rival could seize its wealth or raise an army there. Egypt became the emperor's private estate, tightly controlled from the top. Augustus imposed a strict bureaucracy focused on taxation. Egypt was divided into nomes, each run by a Roman strategos. Local elites were co-opted for administration, bearing heavy burdens to meet tax quotas. This system maximized revenue for Rome, often at great cost to Egyptians. Alexandria, once a royal capital, became a provincial seat under Rome. Still a vital trade hub, it was denied self-governance, fueling resentment among its Greek elite. Only centuries later did the city gain a council, reflecting Rome's deep mistrust of its volatile population. Egypt's security relied on a permanent Roman garrison, initially 3 legions, later reduced but always formidable. The prefect of Egypt commanded these forces, preventing any senator from seizing military power. The legions, supported by auxiliaries, ensured the emperor's grip on the province. Roman soldiers in Egypt did more than fight. They enforced tax collection, maintained order, and built infrastructure. Their engineering skills supported agriculture and public works, but their presence also reminded Egyptians that their land now served Rome's interests above all. While internal security was a primary concern, the Roman army in Egypt was also tasked with defending the province's vast and challenging frontiers. To the west lay the vast expanse of the Libyan desert, home to nomadic tribes who could threaten the scattered oases and the western edge of the Nile Valley. To the east, the Arabian desert posed a similar threat, but the most significant and active frontier was to the south, in the region known as Nubia, or Kush. Here the Romans inherited a long-standing border conflict from the Ptolemies with the powerful kingdom of Meroe, a sophisticated civilization centered further up the Nile. Shortly after the Roman conquest in 25 BC, the Meroitic queen, known as the Candace Amanirenas, launched a major raid into southern Egypt, attacking Roman garrisons at Syene and Philae and even carrying off a bronze head from a statue of Emperor Augustus. The Roman response was swift and brutal. The prefect Gaius Petronius led a punitive expedition deep into Nubia, sacking the city of Napata and forcing the Meroites to sue for peace. Following this campaign, a permanent and heavily fortified southern border was established at Hiera Sykaminos, marking the limit of direct Roman control and creating a buffer zone between the province and the Meroitic kingdom. The Roman arrival layered a new, rigid hierarchy onto Ptolemaic Egypt's existing social pyramid. Roman citizens, a small group of officials, officers and veterans, sat at the apex. They held power and exemptions, residing mainly in Alexandria and fortresses. Their position demonstrated Roman authority. Below them were the Greeks, the Hellenized elite of cities like Alexandria. They retained privileges, dominating civic life and holding administrative positions. This intermediary class maintained status between Roman rulers and the Egyptian population. The economy of Roman Egypt was utterly dominated by agriculture. The annual flooding of the Nile River deposited fertile silt, creating an agricultural paradise. The Romans focused on maximizing production and perfecting the system of collection. They maintained the irrigation canals to ensure a bountiful harvest. The primary product was grain, specifically wheat and barley. Egypt's grain production was the principal reason for its immense value to the Roman Empire. This grain was transported down the Nile to Alexandria, where it was stored in massive granaries before being shipped to Rome. This grain fleet was the lifeline that fed the capital's massive population. Beyond its agricultural might, Roman Egypt was a vibrant center of industry and a crucial hub for international trade. The city of Alexandria was not just the exit point for Egyptian grain. It was also a major manufacturing center in its own right. Its workshops produced high-quality glass, fine linens, pottery, and luxury items like perfumes and jewelry. The papyrus industry, centered in the Delta, was a near monopoly, supplying the paper equivalent to the entire Roman world for its administrative records, literature, and personal correspondence. These industries, combined with the processing of agricultural goods, made the province an economic powerhouse that exported finished goods as well as raw materials. Egypt's unique geographical position, bridging the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, made it the gateway for Rome's lucrative trade with the East. Goods from Arabia, India, and even as far as China flowed into the Red Sea ports of Myos, Hormos, and Berenice. From there, caravans protected by the Roman military trekked across the eastern desert to the Nile, where the goods were transferred to boats and floated downriver to Alexandria. Spices like pepper and cinnamon, silks, precious gems, and exotic animals were brought west, while Roman goods like wine, metalwork, and glass were sent east. This trade brought immense wealth into the province, and, well, the customs duties collected on it were a significant source of revenue for the emperor's treasury. When Rome conquered Egypt, it did not impose its own gods. The Romans were generally tolerant in religious matters. They encountered a pantheon of gods that had been worshipped along the Nile for 3,000 years. Life continued to revolve around the worship of their ancient deities. Gods like Horus, Thoth, and Sobek remained central to the spiritual life of the villages and towns in the Nile Valley. The local temples continued to function much as they had under the pharaohs. These were not just places of worship, but also major economic and cultural centers. The priesthood continued to perform the ancient daily rituals. For the ordinary Egyptian, these temples were the tangible link to the divine. The old ways were resilient. The Romans introduced the imperial cult, a state-sponsored veneration of the emperor, fostering loyalty across the empire. In Egypt, this cult built upon the tradition of the divine ruler. Temples were dedicated to emperors, and priests oversaw their worship. This practice was a mandatory expression of political allegiance, demonstrating loyalty to Rome. The cult was prominent in Alexandria, fused with the worship of the goddess Roma. Festivals and sacrifices were held in the emperor's honor, reinforcing the empire's might. Participation in the imperial cult was a crucial part of public life, a statement that all were subjects of the divine emperor. Among the deities worshipped in Roman Egypt, Isis achieved widespread popularity across the entire Roman Empire. Isis was the great mother goddess. Under the Romans, her cult became a major international religion. She was seen as a universal savior, a compassionate mother who offered her followers protection and rebirth. Her cult was a mystery religion, meaning its central rituals were revealed only to initiates. Temples to Isis, known as Iseums, sprang up in port cities and urban centers. Her iconography, the goddess nursing her infant son, became one of the most recognizable religious images of the age. The Roman conquest of Egypt did not bring an end to the grand tradition of temple building that had defined the landscape of the Nile Valley for millennia. Instead, the early Roman emperors, particularly those of the Julio-Claudian and Flavian dynasties, embraced this tradition as a powerful tool of statecraft. They continued the practice of the Ptolemaic kings before them, funding the construction and completion of magnificent temples dedicated to the ancient Egyptian gods. This architectural patronage served a crucial political purpose. By acting as pious pharaohs, Roman emperors legitimized their rule in the eyes of the Egyptian people and the influential native priesthood, seamlessly inserting themselves into a 3,000-year-old lineage of divine kingship and cosmic stewardship. These temples were built in a purely traditional Egyptian style, almost indistinguishable from those of the New Kingdom or Ptolemaic eras. They featured massive pylons, open-air courtyards, hyper-style halls with towering columns, and dimly lit inner sanctuaries. The walls were covered in intricate hieroglyphic inscriptions and detailed reliefs carved according to the ancient artistic canons. However, a closer look reveals the new reality of Roman power. Amidst the images of Horus, Isis and Amun-Ra, the figure of the Roman emperor appears, depicted in the full regalia of a pharaoh, wearing the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt and making offerings to the gods, a visible statement of continuity and control. The Roman period witnessed the final flourishing of monumental Egyptian temple construction, a last great burst of architectural energy before the old religion began its slow decline. These structures stand today as some of the best preserved temples in all of Egypt, precisely because they were the last to be built. The Temple of Horus at Edfu, though primarily a Ptolemaic construction, was finally completed under Roman rule. Its massive scale, perfect preservation, and the completeness of its inscriptions provide an unparalleled window into the religious and architectural world that the Romans inherited and, for a time, chose to sustain. It represents the culmination of centuries of pharaonic architectural evolution sponsored by Greek and Roman masters. Further south, near the traditional border of Egypt and Nubia, lies the island of Philae, a sacred site dedicated to the goddess Isis. The Romans added significantly to the existing temple complex, which became one of the most important pilgrimage centers in the entire empire. The Kiosk of Trajan, an elegant and unfinished pavilion with towering floral columns, remains one of the most iconic images of Roman Egypt. It was a gateway to the sanctuary of Isis, a place where the Roman emperor honored the most beloved of the Egyptian goddesses, whose cult was by then captivating followers across the Mediterranean world, from the shores of Egypt to the city of Rome itself. The first centuries of Roman rule in Egypt were characterized by stability and systematic exploitation. Following the chaos of the late Ptolemaic era, the Pax Romana brought an end to conflict. The province settled into a rhythm, governed by the emperor's prefect and legions. This peace allowed agriculture and trade to flourish. Augustus's administrative machinery ensured grain ships sailed on time and tax revenues flowed into the treasury, solidifying Egypt's role as the empire's economic bedrock. Cultural toleration allowed ancient religious traditions to continue. Temples were maintained with imperial funds, and emperors were depicted as pharaohs. The Roman tax system siphoned off the province's wealth, burdening the peasant farmers. The relative calm of the first 2 centuries came to an abrupt end in the 3rd century, a period known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century that shook the entire Roman Empire to its foundations. Decades of civil war, rapid turnover of emperors, rampant inflation, and barbarian invasions on the frontiers created widespread instability. Egypt was not immune to this chaos. The province suffered from military usurpations, economic disruption, and new external threats. The firm grip that the central government in Rome had held over the province began to weaken, and the carefully calibrated system of administration and exploitation started to break down under the immense pressure of the empire-wide crisis. One of the most significant threats came from the south and east. The Blemmyes, a nomadic people from the eastern desert, began to launch increasingly bold raids into the Nile Valley, threatening towns and disrupting trade routes. In the 260s, the short-lived Palmyrene Empire, based in Syria and led by the warrior Queen Zenobia, briefly seized control of Egypt, severing it from Roman authority. The Roman Emperor Aurelian eventually reconquered the province, But these events shattered the illusion of impenetrable security that had defined the early Roman period. The military had to be reconfigured to deal with these new, more mobile threats, and the sense of permanent stability was lost for good. The reforms of the emperors Diocletian and Constantine at the turn of the 4th century marked the beginning of a new era, often termed later Roman or Byzantine Egypt. The province underwent a radical administrative overhaul. Egypt was divided into several smaller provinces, breaking its monolithic unity and bringing it more in line with the rest of the empire. The old distinction between the emperor's personal province and senatorial provinces was abolished. A new, more complex bureaucracy was put in place, and the military and civil commands were separated. This was a fundamental reshaping of the government, moving away from the Augustan model towards the structure of the later Byzantine state. The most profound transformation of this period was the rise of Christianity. After centuries of persecution, Emperor Constantine's conversion in the early 4th century made Christianity the favored religion of the empire. In Egypt, this shift was embraced with fervent enthusiasm. The church grew rapidly in wealth and power, developing a strong hierarchical structure under the authority of the powerful bishop or pope of Alexandria. Monasticism, a new form of intense religious devotion, was born in the Egyptian deserts, with charismatic figures like St. Anthony attracting thousands of followers who sought to renounce the world for a life of prayer and asceticism. Egypt became a heartland of Christian thought and spirituality. Roman rule in Egypt wasn't a simple replacement, but a lasting transformation. The legions of Augustus absorbed a civilization, recognizing the immense value of its new prize. Rome imposed a rigid system of governance to extract wealth. Grain, gold and porphyry flowed from the Nile Valley, reshaping the Egyptian economy. This new order was built upon military power. The Roman garrison enforced the peace, protected tax collectors and engineered infrastructure. This brought stability, but it was dictated by a foreign master serving Rome's interests above all else. The story of Roman Egypt is not merely one of what Rome did to Egypt, but also of what Egypt gave to Rome. The influence flowed both ways, and the treasures that the empire received were not just material. The most immediate and tangible gift was, of course, the grain. The annual shipment from Alexandria was the lifeblood of the capital, the foundation of the emperor's ability to maintain social order and political power. But Egypt also gave the Roman world papyrus, the essential medium for communication, administration, and literature. It provided the empire with exquisite glass, fine linens, and the hard, beautiful stones that became the ultimate symbols of imperial luxury and permanence, shaping the very look and feel of the city of Rome. Beyond these material goods, Egypt exported its gods. The cults of Isis and Serapis, nurtured in the multicultural crucible of Hellenistic and Roman Egypt, became international phenomena. They offered a brand of personal, emotional and salvific religion that proved immensely appealing across the vast and diverse empire. In a world often characterized by impersonal state cults, the mysteries of Isis provided a sense of community, divine compassion, and the promise of an afterlife. The spread of these Egyptian cults throughout the Mediterranean prepared the Roman mind for new religious ideas from the East, creating a spiritual landscape in which another faith, Christianity, would eventually find purchase and flourish. The 7 centuries of Roman dominion mark a pivotal bridge in Egypt's narrative. This era signals the definitive end of the pharaonic world, a civilization that had endured for 3 millennia. The Roman conquest integrated the Nile Valley into the Mediterranean world. Yet even as ancient traditions faded, new forms of expression emerged, none more evocative than the haunting Fayum portraits. Painted nearly 2,000 years ago, the Fayum portraits are among the most vivid and personal relics of Roman Egypt. Created between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD, these lifelike images adorned the faces of mummified bodies, bridging the worlds of the living and the dead. They are found mostly in the Fayum region, west of the Nile, but their influence spread across the land. The artists who crafted these portraits used the encaustic technique, mixing coloured pigments with hot beeswax and applying them to wooden panels. This method allowed for remarkable depth, luminosity, and durability. The result? Eyes that seem to gaze across centuries, skin tones that glow with life, and expressions that capture individuality and emotion. The wooden panels, often made from native sycamore or imported cedar, were carefully prepared. Artists layered rich colours, reds, ochres, and deep blacks, using fine brushes and heated tools. Gold leaf sometimes adorned jewellery or clothing, highlighting the status of the deceased. Each portrait was unique, a testament to the sitter's identity, wealth, and aspirations. The people depicted in the Fayum portraits were a blend of cultures, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and others, reflecting the cosmopolitan world of Roman Egypt. Their hairstyles, clothing, and jewellery reveal shifting fashions and social status. Some wear traditional Egyptian amulets, while others display Roman togas or Greek-style tunics. The portraits capture a society in transition where ancient beliefs mingled with new customs. These images were not mere decorations. They served a profound funerary purpose, attached to the mummified bodies and placed in tombs. The portraits were meant to preserve the memory and presence of the deceased, ensuring recognition in the afterlife. They are a poignant fusion of Egyptian spiritual tradition and Greco-Roman realism. Archaeologists have uncovered hundreds of these portraits, often remarkably well preserved by the dry desert sands. Each discovery is a moment of connection, a face from antiquity meeting the gaze of the modern world. Today, the Fayum portraits are displayed in museums across the globe, celebrated for their artistry and humanity. Art historians regard the Fayum portraits as the earliest true-to-life painted portraits in history. Their influence echoes through the centuries, inspiring later traditions of portraiture in both East and West. They remind us that beneath the trappings of empire and the passage of time, the desire to be remembered, to be seen, remains universal. The language of administration shifted and hieroglyphics slowly faded. The Roman period represents a profound break with the past, a closing of the door on ancient Egypt. The ruins of Roman fortresses stand in the desert. Temples completed under Roman patronage are preserved in detail. But in the Fayum portraits, the faces of a lost world endure, silent, watchful, and alive. The Fayum mummy portraits reveal the faces of the multicultural elite, a symbol of cultural fusion. In their gaze, we glimpse the enduring echoes of a world transformed, where Egypt's ancient soul met the new realities of Rome, and where art became a bridge across time.